See, it's things like this that really, I guess, represent a specific culture. So this is in Seoul in Korea in the National Museum. And I was just thinking, if anyone's ever tried to raise an orchid, it's pretty difficult actually. The temperature has to be just right, the light, all these things, the amount of water you give it. If you go over or under, you can quite easily kill the plants. And I've owned quite a few over the years. I didn't kill any, but they certainly didn't look like this. And this is just the bathroom decoration. So just imagine, this is like the scale of the museum. This is maybe 20% less than that, probably like 10% of the museum. This is the Great Hall. So this is a place which has probably 3, 4, 5 dozen of these little layouts, and each one has to be attended to with the utmost, not just intrigue, but discipline, care. Just look at it. It's sort of beautiful. I mean, I love plants, but for anyone that perhaps doesn't know much at all about kind of horticultural upkeep, that requires a lot of dedication. There's probably a professional that's paid to monitor all of the plants within the museum. And I was just thinking, even in the UK or in Europe, unless you're in kind of like a dedicated centre for horticulture, some kind of garden centre, or Kew Gardens, for example, you wouldn't see such things maintained to this level. You might see an orchid from time to time. Of course, you can buy them in home base and department stores, but not to this degree. And certainly in places like India or Bangladesh, these just don't exist to this standard. Maybe in some billionaire's house, but just it gives you an idea of like the level of dedication on such a minute level. Like, this isn't something that is a centerpiece. This is literally just something adjacent. The bathrooms are behind, whether adjacent to the elevators, is kind of just a walkway, a bypass to the rest of the museum. And I've seen already multiple versions of these, and just look at the care. It's just fantastic. Things like this, this is why certain cultures are more equipped to, let's say, lead a more sophisticated existence. You could argue that it's environment that shaped this kind of level of dedication over the millennia, over the centuries, over the years. But I don't buy that. I personally think it's biological, and I'll tell you why. Because by the laws of logic, if every ethnicity, every race rather, every group of individuals on the planet, if you think of Asians, you think of Africans, you think of Latinos, Caucasians, etc., even Arabs, I would say they're all distinct groups. If one group had the physical and mental accolades of all other groups, the mental accolades of all other groups, but a difference in physique, then there would only be one racial group on the planet, because it would have dominated over the years when wars relied not on technology but on physical prowess. So take the biggest individuals on the planet, if they had equal intellectual ability to, say, Asians who have a smaller physique, then they would have dominated the planet years ago and would all be of the same disposition, ethnically speaking. The fact that there is a variety shows that there's a difference in intellectual ability amongst races, just as there is with physical distinctions. And people just ignore what they already know to be true because they're fearful of the backlash from it. But when you think about it, there's clearly physical differences with all of us. So why would that be curbed with respect to the mental? And people are like, oh no, but there is no difference. Science proves it. Well, so-called science also states that chimpanzees have almost the same level of cognitive ability as humans. It's like a few percent or a percentile. So, when we're talking about the differences between human racial groups, it can be so minute that it's not even feasible, but even the most minute difference can have a drastic effect in the long run, as clearly it does. Clearly different groups in the world have different cognitive abilities and different physical abilities as well. And like I said, it's very simple. Logically speaking, if all Asians were physically as dominant as Africans with the same cognitive abilities, we'd all be Asian. Likewise, if Africans had the same cognitive abilities as Asians, we'd all be African. Over the millennia, that's what would have happened. The world would have been conquered by the most dominant group in both respects, the cognitive and the physical. But anyway, this just shows that I love to have a moment in the minds of certain people from certain places, because the level of detail is just fantastic. I really just have the utmost profound respect for what is, in essence, just a just a decoration by the loo. It's just brilliant. I love it.